Hello and welcome back to smutandstuff.net, your one-stop shop for reading romance recs on the internet. And today I have my September wrap-up for you guys. And I'm not gonna lie, after my 28 books in August, September is looking a little sad. So let's go ahead and jump into the stats for September. In the month of September, I read 12 books and I read a total of 3,332 pages, and that includes any pages that I read in books even if I didn't finish them this month. So any books that I might have started that aren't done, that includes those pages as well. And I read for a total of 63 hours and 44 minutes, which was pretty good, but definitely a decrease from August. And I think part of that is because I had a readathon in August that really encouraged me to get more reading in, and I didn't have that for September, but I do have that coming in October. I actually have a couple readathons, so if you haven't seen my Spookopoly-thon TBR yet, it is already October, so it has started, but it's only the beginning, so you're welcome to jump in. I'll link the Spookopoly-thon TBR in the top corner here for you guys if you're interested in joining a readathon hosted by Becca and the Books here on YouTube. I'll be joining that as well. But anyway, as far as where I got the books that I read this month for September, I had 4 DNFs. I had 8 books from Kindle Unlimited, 1 book from the library, none that I owned, and 4 ARCs. No. And 3 ARCs from Netgalley. And I'm gonna go ahead and start with my 3-star reads from the month. The first one was Wickedly Sweet. This one was one of the bedtime story novellas that I read with my friend Sabrina. And this one is an MFM Halloween. It's got primal vibes, it's got knife play, some blood play, virgin heroine as well. This one was really fun. I did enjoy it. It lost me a little bit with the knife, not gonna lie. That's kind of where I drew my line. So I did end up giving this one 3 stars, but overall it was a good, quick, fun read. It's definitely great for October, so if you are looking for some fun little novellas that are definitely October vibes, I highly recommend Wickedly Sweet. My next 3-star read was Breaking the Ice. This is the first book in the Love on Thin Ice series, I believe is what it's called. This one was an ARC that I got from Netgalley. It is a clean romance, which was fine. It had great tension. I really enjoyed it. The one thing that kind of made it a 3-star versus like a 4 or a 5 is I just felt like the pacing was a little bit slow. As far as like the romance goes, it had great plot and lots of other things going on, which was great. But I did feel like the romance was lacking just a tiny bit, and I wanted a little bit more from those characters for that. The third act conflict or the third act breakup I felt was handled pretty well, so I definitely liked that part of it. And I'll definitely be continuing the series because I actually have ARCs of most of the books from this series, so I'm really excited to continue on. It is a shared world series, so it's different authors, but they all write in the same world. Shared world, you get it. So I'll be continuing that series for sure in the upcoming months. As far as my 4-star reads, I had 3 4 stars this month. The first one that I will talk about is Pen Pal. I was really torn on this one on whether I wanted to give it 4 or 5 stars. The main reason that I didn't give it 5 stars, and this isn't necessarily the book's fault, but it's marketed as a romance and I don't feel like it's a romance. Like I just didn't, if you've read it, you get it. But I just didn't feel like it was really a romance book. But I absolutely loved how this book was written. Go in blind if you haven't heard anything about Pen Pal before. Go in blind if you can. Just take it and run with it. Just enjoy yourself. But yeah, I had a really great time with this one. I felt like it was really well written. It was a really fun time. My biggest complaint was that I just didn't feel like it was really a true romance, and so it did knock it down a little bit. So I'm so sorry for all my Pen Pal lovers. I do love Perfect Strangers by this author. I felt like that one was really good as well. But definitely a great read, even if it's 4 stars. It's okay, I promise. My next 4-star read was Birthday List by Devney Perry. I am slowly making my way through all of Devney Perry's backlist. I absolutely love her writing style. She writes, or at least the books that I've read have more of like a romantic suspense kind of vibe. Birthday List, I felt like definitely was more of like a contemporary romance. You're following, I never remember character names, so I'm never gonna tell you their names. But you're following the main character, and her husband passed away, and he like left a bucket list of things that he wanted to do. And she's like trying to complete that bucket list, and then through that she ends up meeting back up with the police officer who showed up to her door and told her that her husband had been involved in a fatal car accident. And so he like joins the birthday list shenanigans, I guess, if you want to call it that. And it's about them falling in love. So it's not second chance, but it's like her second chance at love. So like second chance vibe, but not totally between the two characters. I had a great time with this one. I felt like the romance was a little bit lacking. I felt like he definitely had way more of a thing for her than she had for him, and I just wanted to see that reciprocated a little bit more. But I did have a great time. I am definitely going to continue this series. Next is Letters to Molly, and I'm excited for that. So I'll definitely be continuing the series, but I gave this one 4 stars. And my last 4-star read for September was Twisted Hate. This is the 3rd book in the Twisted series by Anna Huang. I had a good time with this one. I did prefer book 2 a little more. I just felt like there was better tension in book 2. This one was really fun though. It's like enemies to lovers, brothers, no, sister's best friend? Best friend's brother, I think is what it's called. And they're in like a situationship, and obviously things progress. I felt like the character development was done really, really well in this. I felt like the characters went through their own individual growth to get to that love point. And I appreciated that, but I did feel like there was like a little too much hesitation. I was like, just be together. Fuck's sake. But I did really enjoy this, but again, I liked book 2 a little bit more, so I gave this one 4 stars. All right, before we get into my 5-star reads for September, let's talk about my DNFs. I had 4, which is a lot. I am definitely finding my stride of like, if I'm not having fun, I'm just gonna not read it. Which it's taken me a while to get there. So if you're not there yet, I totally get it. But just a reminder, also, I'm sorry, I have this pen. Here's your friendly reminder. There are so many books in the world. You don't need to be reading one that you're not excited for, okay? There it is. There's the reminder. So let's talk about the DNFs. The first one I had was Grimm. This was another one of the bedtime stories with my friend Sabrina. Unfortunately, the monster smut doesn't bother me. The flavored juice, I'm done with that. And the fact that his tasted like chocolate, I was like, no, thank you. So I DNF'd this one at 54%, but that's where the chocolate goo started coming in. And I was like, no way. We're not doing this. The next DNF that I had was Back for Seconds. I DNF'd this one at 25%. This was also a smutty little novella that I was reading with my friend. This one is a Thanksgiving, like reverse harem, like all the side dishes like come to life. It was very weird. All I could think about was like what side dish they were. And so I was like not invested in what was happening. I was just distracted. I was so distracted by the whole plot, and so I DNF'd this one. I just could not do it. But she really enjoyed it, so if that's something you're into, if you're into Why Choose with Thanksgiving side dishes, have at it, girl. Do you. It's almost the season for it. The next DNF that I had was Heir of Sin. I DNF'd this one at 62%. This one was an advanced reader copy that I got from Netgalley. It is a fantasy romance that deals with Jinn and a little bit of fairy, but mostly Jinn is talked about. I was enjoying this one in the beginning, but then I started getting kind of confused. The author's primary language isn't English. So it's translated, which was fine until it wasn't. I was just starting to get really confused of what was going on. The wording was a little bit clunky at certain parts. And so I was just struggling. As somebody who doesn't normally read fantasy, I was struggling with it. If you normally read fantasy, you might have better luck with this. I definitely liked the premise, and it was good up until when it wasn't, basically. It was good until it was no longer good, and then I couldn't force myself through it. So I gave this one a DNF at 62%. My last DNF was rough for me. This is the first time that I've ever skipped a sex scene because I was just like so done with this. I struggled with contemporary romance that's like over 350 pages. Like, there's just no need for that nonsense. If it's not gripping me enough, there's no need for it to be that long. I did read The Words by Ashley Jade, and that's like 600 pages, but I was in it like the whole time. I was never bored. And this one is an author that I read pretty regularly. I really love her writing, but this one I was just like, let's go. Like, I'm done with this. And that's Walk Off Wedding. I DNF'd at 80%. And I knew it was time to DNF because I skipped their first intimate scene. And you're just like, that's a red flag for me for sure. And I wanted to love it. The beginning is so good. There's like all these text messages and forums, and they meet. It's very Cinderella Story with Hilary Duff. If you've ever seen that movie, the whole beginning is like very much that vibe. But it just took a little bit too long. Took too long. I was more curious about what was going to happen about some of the side plot than like their romance, and that was really hard for me. I love Maren Moore. I love her writing, but this one was just not it for me, so I'm so sorry. I had to DNF this one. It broke my heart. It literally broke my heart, but there's too many books in the world. Okay, and last but not least, let's talk about my 3 5-star reads of September. I'm really excited about these. I had so much fun with them. Total blast, unique storylines. I was just so here for them. So let's talk about my first one, which was Kiss and Don't Tell by Megan Quinn. This one is a hockey romance in the sense that he's a hockey player, but there's not really any like hockey content. But she gets like stranded and ends up walking up to this like cabin in the woods, and there's just a bunch of hockey players there, and she's like, I have snacks in my backpack, and they're like, all right, fine, you can stay. So she ends up staying with these hockey guys in this cabin in like the country or whatever, the countryside, I guess. But it is not like a wide shoe. She doesn't like stumble upon the cabin and like everybody's doing everything. But his name was Pacey, which I absolutely loved. I do remember his name because his name was Pacey, and I am such a big Joshua Jackson fan. Dawson's Creek, we love him. But I really had a lot of fun with this one. There is a like, don't I know you vibe in the beginning. And I really like how that kind of played out. So I absolutely love this one. This is book 1 in the Vancouver Agitators series. I'm definitely going to be continuing the series. I had so much fun with this one. I love Megan Quinn's writing. I find her books to be so fun to read. So I will definitely be continuing the series for sure. My next 5-star read was Ghosted by Sarah Reddy, and I actually picked this book up because it is the first book in the Ghosted series, and I got the 4th book in this series as an arc, so I wanted to go and start the series, and I'm so glad that I did. I absolutely loved this story. So you're following your female main character. She moves into this new apartment, and it's like a sex dungeon. Like, there's like, the bed is like on a platform, there's like mirrors everywhere, and she's like, what in the actual hell is going on? And so she moves into this place. She's very like reserved and kind of like quiet, and definitely not sex dungeon kind of vibes from her. And while she's in this apartment, a ghost appears of this like shirtless guy, and he's just like, I'm not dead. And she's like, dude, you're totally dead. Like, what are you talking about? And they end up just like kind of forming this friendship. She's trying to like figure out why he's like haunting her apartment. She thinks he used to live there. He's like, no, I've like never been here before ever. And she's like, yo, dude, like, why are you here? And this book was so good. So there is that like little bit of paranormal to it because he is a ghost. But man, I was not expecting how this story ended. And it was so good. It was so good. I was crying. I was there for it. It was beautiful. I had such a blast. The comedy was really well done. Excuse me. And I ate it right up. I ate it up. I did not think I was going to love this one as much as I did because I was like, paranormal. I'm not sure I'm going to really love that. Oh my God. Absolutely loved it. I can't wait to continue the series so that I can read the Wished arc. And that book just got released. This is also one of the only books that I could not get through KU. So if you want to read Ghosted, you will have to get it through your library or purchase it. But it's totally worth it. I had so much fun. It was such a unique story. And I think that just really hit it home for me. When you read as much romance as I do, it's hard to find those unique stories sometimes, but this one was totally unlike anything I'd ever read before. So highly recommend it, and you'll be seeing the rest of the series trickle into my TBR throughout the next few months, I'm sure. And my last 5-star read of September was Edge of Chaos by Molly E. Lee. I got this one also as an ARC. This book was originally released, I think in like 2016, I want to say. And the author is like re-releasing the series. She's like revamping all the books and like rewriting them, polishing them up, and like re-releasing them. So if you go on Goodreads and like look it up, it is like book 1 in like a 6-book series, I think, but only this book is available right now. But I got an ARC of it, and my gosh, I devoured it. I was so obsessed. So you're following our two main characters, and she is going to school to become a meteorologist, and he is a storm chaser, like a tornado storm chaser guy. And they have like a class together and they become friends. This one does have some toxic relationship stuff going on, not between our main characters, but elsewhere. So be wary of that. There are some triggers for this one for sure, but oh my goodness, all the like tornado talk and like the storm chasing, the banter was great, the tension was amazing. I devoured this. I already gifted copies to like 2 of my friends because I was like, you need to read this, you're gonna love it. I'm probably gonna grab one for my mom as well because she has always wanted to chase a tornado, and this will let her live vicariously through this book. But I absolutely devoured it. It was so good, and I'm so excited for the rest of the series to get released. This poor author, I was like blowing up her Instagram because I just like kept tagging her and everything because I was like, this book is so good. But I absolutely loved it. Edge of Chaos by Molly E. Lee. Absolutely adored, and I cannot wait to read more from her. All right, this one was definitely shorter than August because I had so few reads, but again, in August I had that readathon that I was really pushing for, so I think that really helped up my reading game. But I'm excited for October. Again, if you haven't heard of Becca's Spookopoly-thon, I will link my TBR video up here, and that also links to her announcement video. It did start on October 1st, so it started already by the time you're seeing this, but it's never too late to join in. And there will be another readathon coming later this month from the Bookly app. So if you have, if you haven't checked out my Wanderlust readathon video from the Bookly app, I will put that here as well. But there's another one coming, but I'll link that one so you can kind of see what it's like. And then when it gets a little closer, I'll let you in on what's going on and what my TBR will be for that one. But October's gonna be amazing. I'm so excited. Let me know what your favorite read of September was in the comments below. I would love to add it to my TBR because that sucker ain't going nowhere. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll talk to you very soon. Bye.